One day he might wake up and realize he has wasted half of his life. Carl Gustav Jung. Have you ever considered that maybe you're already letting your life slip away? Not out of conscious choice, but due to distraction. Because of living on autopilot. Because of the routine that swallows up your days without leaving any meaningful memories behind. We're constantly rushing to work, to obligations, chasing goals that we don't even remember choosing. But what if all of this is a trap? What if the real danger lies in waking up too late, when there's no more time left to live with intention? In this video, we'll dive deep into the thoughts of Carl Gustav Jung, one of the most influential psychiatrists in history, to rediscover what gives life meaning. We will explore the pain, the darkness, and the enigma of being alive. Are you prepared to confront the truth about your existence? Because maybe this is your final opportunity to change before everything fades into regret. The modern illusion existing without truly living. We inhabit an era where emptiness disguises itself as productivity, and emotional suffering is seen as some kind of defect. For every form of emotional pain, anxiety, or distress, there's always a quick fix, a distraction, a pill, an excuse. But according to Carl Gustav Jung, this is nothing more than a grand illusion. Modern man does not view himself as a being shaped by the past, but as someone capable of shaping the future without knowing his own soul. Carl Gustav Jung. In our attempt to manage the mind like a machine, we've forgotten that we are beings of soul. Modern psychiatry often leans towards suppressing symptoms with medication rather than listening to what our suffering is trying to communicate. Jung believed emotional pain was not an enemy, but a messenger. Anxiety and depression, in his view, weren't always rooted in chemical imbalances, but frequently stemmed from a deeper existential misalignment. Contemporary life, obsessed with consumption, immediacy, and appearances, has torn humanity away from its true nature. And the outcome? Crowds drifting aimlessly numb, existing without truly living. The danger doesn't lie solely in suffering itself, but in the way we respond to it. When a person is convinced that their pain comes only from a faulty brain, rather than their way of life, they are denied the opportunity to seek meaningful change. They become confined within a narrative that distances them from their true self. Jung issued a warning. Silencing pain is not enough. We must understand it. Real healing is not found in running from suffering, but in discovering what it has to teach us. To begin this journey of inner reconnection, there's something fundamental we must grasp, something that few are willing to face, yet holds the power to transform everything. Brace yourself, because now is the time to confront an uncomfortable but necessary truth. Life was never meant to be easy. Embracing pain, the truth that sets you free, to many, pain is seen as the ultimate foe, something to be avoided at all costs. From an early age, we are taught to seek out comfort, pleasure, and ease, as if an ideal life must be completely void of hardship. But Jung, with his relentless clarity, presents us with a radically different and transformative point of view. Man needs difficulties. They are essential for his well-being. Carl Gustav Jung. Pain is not a flaw in existence. It is a vital signal, a call from the soul urging us to initiate inner change. It is through hardship that we evolve, mature, and uncover our true identity. When we avoid life's struggles, we forfeit the opportunity to become whole. In Jung's perspective, a life devoid of trials is a life devoid of depth. He believed that comfort and tranquility are not natural states for human beings, but rare achievements, earned only by those courageous enough to confront their personal voids. Ultimately, it's highly unlikely that any therapy could remove all of life's difficulties. Carl Gustav Jung It is the effort to run away from pain that leads to suffering. Refusing to accept that life is inherently challenging fosters a fragile, bitter, and disillusioned generation. We often expect that with enough time, problems will resolve themselves, but time, in isolation, does not heal. It merely reveals. Jung never sugar-coated reality. He told his patients what few dared to say: life is indeed difficult, but within that very difficulty lies the chance for transformation. To avoid it is to abandon oneself. When we embrace pain as part of the journey, we stop treating it as an adversary. We begin to recognize it as a stern yet fair teacher. Its purpose is not to destroy us, but to awaken us. And once we awaken, we begin to see something deeper, because within each of us there exists a hidden aspect, one we neglect, fear, and often deny. And it is within this darkness of the soul that the next stage of our journey awaits. The shadow. The shadow. The self you refuse to face. Once we accept that pain is an inseparable part of life, we are faced with an even greater challenge, looking inward with unflinching honesty. Because what we might discover there isn't always pleasant. Jung referred to this inner realm as the shadow, and warned us, turning a blind eye to it is the fastest route to self-deception and prolonged suffering. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is integrated into conscious life, the darker and denser it becomes. Carl Gustav Jung. The shadow consists of all the elements we reject within ourselves, traits, emotions, impulses, and memories we deem unacceptable. Not only negative aspects, but also dormant potential that we suppress in order to conform to societal expectations. Denying this part of ourselves is like trying to live with only half a soul. When the shadow is ignored, it doesn't vanish. It hides, and from the hidden corners of our psyche, it manipulates our choices, relationships, and inner peace. Anything that becomes conscious can be corrected, but what slips into the unconscious lies beyond correction. Carl Gustav Jung. How often do we act in ways we can't explain? How many times do we react with anger, jealousy, envy, or fear without understanding the source? That's the shadow at work. And as long as it remains unacknowledged, it will continue to control us, silently and invisibly. Jung taught that true healing requires the courage to face our distorted reflection, not to battle it, but to embrace it as an essential part of who we are. Integrating the shadow means recognizing that we are both light and darkness, and that only by embracing both can we become whole. The shadow also contains strength. How many times have we suppressed our assertiveness, sexuality, or creativity because we were taught these things were wrong? In doing so, we bury our vitality. One of the most powerful ways to detect the shadow is by observing what bothers us in others. What we judge most harshly in others often reveals what we're unwilling to see in ourselves. Confronting the shadow is a radical act of honesty. It means stopping the blame and taking responsibility for our own darkness. But beyond pain and the shadow, there is something greater, something capable of transforming our entire way of being, meaning. And that's what Jung reveals next, through a timeless story that transcends culture and history. The symbolic life, healing lies in meaning. After confronting both pain and the shadow, a fundamental question remains. What is it all for? What's the purpose behind so much struggle, introspection, and change? According to Jung, the answer doesn't lie in life's fleeting pleasures, external success, or worldly achievements. True healing comes from living a symbolic life, a life rooted in meaning. During one of his travels, Jung met a Pueblo tribal chief in the United States. That conversation profoundly reshaped his understanding of the human soul. We are the children of Father Sun. He is the one up there in the sky. Each day it is our duty, to help him rise over the horizon and make his journey across the heavens. Pueblo Chief, as recounted by Carl Gustav Jung. These simple words held a profound truth. The Pueblo people believed that their everyday actions had cosmic significance, that their spiritual responsibility gave purpose to their existence. They did not suffer from anxiety, nor were they trapped in existential crisis. They had purpose. They had dignity. These people have no neuroses. They live a symbolic life. Carl Gustav Jung. In stark contrast, Jung recounted an encounter with a Western woman, a compulsive traveler, wealthy, immersed in luxury. Yet her gaze resembled that of a cornered animal, always chasing something, never finding it, living a life grotesquely ordinary, rootless, void of meaning or spirit. The difference was striking. The Pueblo saw themselves as active participants in the divine narrative of life. The Western woman was a lost observer of a play without a script. When life loses its symbols, it also loses direction. And in that emptiness, the ailments of the modern soul are born. Jung came to realize that healing doesn't arise from the absence of pain, but from the presence of meaning. But what about us, who no longer share a common mythology? How do we find that meaning? How do we construct a symbolic life amidst modern chaos? The answer lies in our ability to create a purpose of our own. Inventing meaning, the new mission of the Western mind. In today's world, many of the old beliefs that once provided direction have been discarded. Myths, rituals, and sacred symbols all seem to have lost their significance. But the emptiness they left behind still cries out. And that is precisely why, now more than ever, we must invent our own meaning. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Gustav Jung. According to Jung, modern human suffering stems from a deep disconnection from symbolic life. Without a greater sense of purpose, we try to fill the inner void with distractions, overworking, addictions, status, social media. Yet the more we try, the deeper the emptiness becomes. The soul cannot be nourished by hollow achievements. The unlived life is a sickness that can lead to death. Carl Gustav Jung. And this unlived life refers to the one in which we silence the inner call, suppress who we are, ignore our gifts, and turn away from the challenge of living authentically. Living with purpose doesn't mean having everything figured out. It means devoting yourself to something greater, whether it's a cause, a belief, a creative expression, or a non-negotiable value. Jung believed that each person must craft their own mythology, a personal story that gives meaning and structure to life. Following predefined paths isn't enough. You have to listen to your soul and uncover what makes your life worth living. And if you don't know what that is yet, that's okay. What matters is the willingness to search, because those who seek with genuine intent will eventually find. And once they do, everything changes. But a decision must be made. You can continue living by inertia, or you can finally awaken, wasting life or truly living. After everything we've explored, from inevitable pain to the hidden shadow, from the search for meaning to the creation of a symbolic life, only one question remains: are you truly living or merely surviving? I am only concerned with the fulfillment of what lies within each individual. That is the entire issue. Carl Gustav Jung. Life doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence. And presence takes courage. Courage to turn inward, to face discomfort, to embrace your full self, both light and shadow, strength and vulnerability. The real tragedy isn't in failing. It's in never daring to truly live, in letting the soul fall asleep while the body goes through mindless motions, in silencing the inner call out of fear or convenience, but you still have time. As long as there is breath in you, there is a chance to change. A chance to listen to what life is trying to tell you, to stop being a mere observer and become the lead character in your own story. The moral of the story: pain is part of the journey. The shadow is real. Meaning is found in building, day by day, a life worth living. Not to impress others, but so that, in the end, you can look back and say, I was whole. Thank you for watching this video. We invite you to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Also, don't forget to activate the notification bell so you'll know when we post something new. See you in the next video.